Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Brown Girl in Beijing podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Baby. Hello, good people of Gotham. Welcome to episode 5. What are we discussing today? Will it be a mixed bag, or will there be one organized theme throughout the episode? If you know me, you already know the answer, but stay tuned to find out.
I know you've been jamming with your crew. You got to leave, but that won't do. I want to put another wine on you. I got that good. If I put it right there, would you wine on me?
Alright, so if you guessed mixed bag, you are correct. So after the last episode, I got 3 suggestions about what I should talk about next. I will take 2 of them and try to get through 2 of them today. The last one I think I'll save for maybe episode 7, which I intend to be the season finale because 7 is one of my favorite numbers. But before we go into that, I just want to tell y'all. So I addressed you as the people of Gotham for a reason. Because over the past 2 weeks, I have been like binging superhero movies. So almost all of the Batman movies since '89. And then Man of Steel, Superman, Spider-Man, which the Amazing Spider-Man, is that what it's called? Whatever it's called. The one with the Spider-Man in between. Not the real Peter Parker and not the kid Peter Parker, but the one in between. Don't know his name. Don't know. Yeah, that's not my business. Anyway, I don't think I've ever watched it before. I definitely have never watched it before. So I just watched that. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action. I just watched that. And I don't think that I'd ever watched that before. So I've been binging all of those. And what happened was, in my dreams, I believe that I'm this like ninja. But the funny thing is, guys, that even in my dreams, I'm still a terrible ninja. In my dreams, where I can defy gravity if I want, where I can disobey all of the laws of physics and what other laws there are. In my dreams, I'm still bad at it. That's how I know that I will never be destined to be that kind of superhero. That's just not my bag. It's not my bag. Like in my dream, there was this group of bad guys and I knew who they were and I had to stop them, so I had to be stealth. And so, I figure take out the one in front. Just whoosh, whip him away like a thief in the night, right? And when everybody sees that he's gone, they're gonna be scared and it's gonna be easy to take them out, like boom, boom, boom. So in my dream, I'm hiding behind the corner because I'm stealth. Right? Nobody's supposed to see me. He comes around the corner and I take him. Mans immediately starts screaming. I'm like, shut up. You're going to blow the whole thing. And I can't keep him quiet. I can't like knock him unconscious, which is obviously what I was supposed to have done. So instead I drag him away with me and just start running somewhere, like down the sidewalk somewhere. I don't remember how the dream ended. Maybe I woke up. Not sure. Either way, not good at my job. So if you were ever wondering, I'm not cut out to be a superhero. Not that kind, anyway. I can be super in other ways. Anyway, moving on. So one friend asked me to talk about owning a pet in China, as I own one now and I fostered 2 dogs. Another friend asked me about my Disney headbands, my ears, that are not up anymore. Wonder why that could be. So asked me to explain a little bit more about those. And then another friend asked me, could you please leave my stuff alone? It's Quest trying to take down the patriarchy of my stand. And another friend asked me to do a video comparing Bahamian and Chinese phrases, which is something that I will leave to my season finale, just because I need to stock up on more Chinese phrases. So first up, let's talk about pet ownership in Beijing. If you knew me before I moved to Beijing, if you knew me when I lived in Virginia, you know that I had a dog, Sally. And I had her for 2 years before I moved back to the Bahamas and could not take her with me. And so we rehomed her with a nice older lady who had lost her dog a couple years ago, still had all of her dog's things, and took Sally to the house. And sis immediately made herself feel at home. So she was running up and down in the backyard, like the lady had a backyard. It was like a house. She had a nice front yard. She had all kinds of toys and stuff like that. And so Sally I knew that she would be in good hands. That was heartbreaking for me. It was also a little bit sudden because when I talked to the lady that I'd initially adopted her from, and talked to her about rehoming Sally, she sent a message like, hey, we're gonna meet with, this new lady this weekend, so you can just bring all of Sally's things. The first time that I read the message, in my brain it was just, we're gonna meet this lady to see if it's gonna be a good fit, and then after that we can arrange, dropping Sally off. And I don't know what prompted me to read the message again the night before. I was like, bring all of her things. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I'm not gonna have my dog anymore. And I sat on my floor and wept. And Sally's like, Mom, what's going on? What's happening? What you doing? Stop that. I just cried. Just cried. And so, excuse my cat's tail. So, moving back home, I wanted to find an apartment that was going to be pet friendly. That did not happen. Then I got the opportunity to come to China, and that was always on the forefront of my mind, like find an apartment that's pet friendly. The first apartment that we got, the agent wasn't sure that whether or not the apartment was pet friendly. But it was a 3-bedroom, it was a reasonable price, it was close enough to work, so we just went with it. When I was looking to adopt a dog, we found out from the landlady, not pet friendly. So crushed all my hopes and dreams. So moved into a new apartment, made sure that apartment was pet friendly. And about 3 months or so into that, I was connected with a pet hospital out here, veterinarian, and they had like an adoption section of their website. They had an adoption department for cats and dogs. And of course, me being a dog person, looked for dogs. And I was looking for a small breed dog because I knew that if I wanted to leave, I would want to have my dog with me, to carry my dog with me, and not have to have my dog travel as cargo. That was a very big thing for me. So reached out to them, got connected with a dog, and set up a meeting, an adoption meeting, between myself and the current foster of the dog. We were going to go to the hospital, meet up, and I was going to meet the dog. Took one of my friends with me. We got there, and this was, I'm trying to think of when it was, but it was somewhere, it was near winter, like fall, winter. Got there to meet the dog, and the foster came and basically just dropped him off. It was like, here you go. How are you? No. I'm just here to meet him. I'm literally not prepared to take this dog home. Like, this is the middle of my day right now. I still have things to do this evening, so I cannot take the dog with me. That's number one. Number two, the dog was definitely a lot bigger than I had expected. So talking with the vet, she's like, you have 2 weeks. You can try it out. If it doesn't work, no problem. Just let us know and we will take him back. Okay. Asked them if they could keep him that night and I would come and collect him the next morning. She said, fine, perfect. So the next day I go to collect this dog. And I bring him home. And sweet dog, so cute. He was about 2 or 3 years old maybe. So house trained, crate trained, potty trained, all of that. And he was a good dog. And, started to try to build this bond with him, taking him for walks, feeding him, just hanging out with him. And there were some moments where he was super sweet, other moments where, he was just, I guess, chilling. And over the next 2 weeks, I just found it harder and harder to bond with him. I'm like, this is a dog, great dog, but it's not my dog. So I reached out to them and said, hey, I don't think it's going to work out with us. I'm happy to foster him for another couple of weeks, but, let's work on finding him a new place. So they said, okay, no problem. And they definitely took me at my word, and it was weeks, like weeks, until I think maybe the week before my birthday came around. I was like, hey, I know that I said that I would foster him for a bit, but that time period has been passed. What are we doing? Do we have any new information? And apparently the foster that had him before was not returning calls or something, or was out of the country or something, and just could not be reached. I'm like, okay, so let's figure out a solution, guys, please. Because at this point, I'm probably not the best person to do this, as for me and my feelings, I'm literally just keeping this dog alive. I'm doing what I can to keep him alive, but this is not my dog. I'm sorry. So after a while, they were able to take him back. And I stopped my search for a bit because I was like, maybe I just not supposed to have a pet right now. So shortly after that, COVID hit and we stopped going to work. Instead, we started working from home online, as did much of the world shortly thereafter. And I found myself going outside less and less. Did not leave my apartment unless it was to throw out the trash and maybe get food towards the end of February, when they stopped the delivery guys from coming into the compound. Prior to that, I could be in my apartment not leaving my front door in days. And then I said, well, maybe it's time to try again, at the very least, to foster a dog. And so I reached out to Lost Puppies of Beijing, wonderful organization, saving puppies all over the city. And they connected me with a couple of dogs just to see, who would be a good fit for me. And so I settled on Sophie. And again, we did a trial and love Sophie. I'm like, maybe I'm just not a dog person. But I decided I would foster her for however long. And she was good for me. She got me out of the apartment a couple of times a day. We went for walks around the block. And I found a vet that was close to my apartment, so we could walk to the vet, we could walk to the groomers. So we did have a lot of fun. And she's such a happy dog, such a happy dog. Anybody and everybody that met her fell in love. She was a sweetheart. She had severe separation anxiety from my point of view, which could be totally wrong. But for me, she had severe separation anxiety. And it actually, as she got a little bit older, it heightened my levels of anxiety. This is the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. And so as the pandemic sort of waxed and waned and we were going outside a little bit more, where I lived, it took about 40 minutes at least to get to anywhere else. And so anytime I left the house, I would be gone for at least 2 hours. And that's just 2 hours too long for her. And she was crate trained. she was potty trained, and still, once I left the house, she just went crazy. I got games for her, I got treats for her, little snacks to try to keep her occupied. Did one of those like surveillance things where you can turn your old phone into like a webcam, and it would be hours of non-stop howling until she fell asleep, and then she would wake up and start howling again. And it did something to me. I just I could not. And so talked with the girls from Lost Puppies, and we tried to work it out to where we could get her some training, some professional training. So they gave me a book to read, which sort of helped, and I tried to implement different steps. And maybe I was just super impatient, but it just didn't seem like it was taking. And with me, when I get anxious, it's just like I need to find a way out. I need to breathe because I can't breathe. And every time I heard her howl, I wanted to cry. And like I would go out just for lunch with friends, and I cannot enjoy myself because I know that Sophie is home crying. And so we tried to get her adopted by a few people, but it was the same sort of issue. And then she was able to be fostered by somebody who was able to take her to work with her and also have her around other dogs, because that was another thing that I could not do. And it just seemed like she was getting a lot better. She had a lot more socialization, and she was able to see a lot more, do a lot more. And so that made me extremely happy. And then she got adopted by another family with another dog. So she has no little friend, she has a home. And so I'm happy that that's how it worked out. And then I realized that, yeah, maybe I'm not a dog person. So that brings us to this guy. After that, I had asked the Lost Puppies gals, I'm like, hey, maybe dogs are not for me. Maybe cats? And so they said, okay, well, we'll connect you with these people here and see if something works out. Great. And so maybe I told you guys the story of how I got Quest before, but I'll just run through it quickly. His old mom, she was in Beijing, and then during Chinese New Year last year, she went back to America and could not bring Quest with her. And so she was trying to find a home for him. She found somebody, and that person developed an allergy to cats, and so she needed to rehome him. And I saw the ad, and I'm like, oh, this little cute baby with little droopy ears. Let's do it. And we did. And so in a matter of days, I had a cat, and needed to learn very quickly how to care for a cat because I'd only ever been around dogs, and I did not consider myself a cat person. But here we are. So owning a cat in Beijing, I think it's a lot easier than owning a dog. For instance, with a dog, the dog has to be registered, and that has to happen once a year. With a cat, not so. Vaccinations and make sure they get their shots, that's pretty much the same. For me, I don't like to leave the house very much, so having a cat sit in the house, like I have that company, but I also don't have to leave to make sure that my cat does its business. That's a bonus. I just need to make sure that I empty his litter box in time and make sure that he's fed. And also with Quest, I can go on, because once food, I'm wiping away all of his hair that's flowing about. Once food is in his bowl, he's good for at least 2 days. So if I have to take a quick trip somewhere, I can, and I don't have to worry about him. Whereas it's not the same with dogs, because obviously they need to go for walks. So they need somebody to be there. For me, having Quest is a lot more low maintenance than having a dog, at least here in Beijing. And I feel that that's because my mobility is somewhat limited because I don't drive here. So I depend on DDs, I depend on the bus, I depend on the subway, and I do ride my bike, but I really only ride my bike in my area. And when I say in my area, I mean from home to work and back. On the rare occasion that I ride my bike into town, it's because I'm going to be in town all day and there's somewhere to charge my bike. And so I feel like I don't have as much freedom as I did when I lived in the US or when I lived at home. And also, I live in an apartment. And these are like complexes. These aren't apartments that have maybe 4 units in a set. No, we're talking 20 plus floors, however many apartments on one floor. I think we have like 6 on mine. And it's all too much. It's just very city. Whereas where I lived in Virginia we had basically 4 units to a set. And so everybody sort of had access to like a yard. Not the same. And so owning a pet in Beijing, for me, easier to own a cat. And I mean, it is what it is. I hope that answered your question, Sandra. I don't actually know if you didn't have a question. It was just, so I just babbled. So hope that was to your satisfaction. All right, so that was about pet ownership. Now we move on to why the wall behind me is bare. It's time for the Disney ears, yeah! Okay, so I have 3, 5, 8, 11 Disney ears. Not all of them are mine. When Kaylee thought that she was leaving, she gave me some of her Disney ears. I think she only gave me like 2 though. Anyway, so let's move through them. I will wear each one as I describe why I have it. So I think this is one of the Kaylee ones. And that's why I have it. I think this is also one of the Kaylee ones. And I only think that because I have 2 of these. So one must be mine and one must be hers, right? So I think that this came in a lucky box, lucky bag kind of thing. So what they do at work, or what they did at work, my old job, which if I've never told you, you can probably guess what it was. What they did in my old job was have these lucky bags where you could pay however much and you didn't know what you were going to get, but you were going to get something. And so I would get them because sometimes I would split it with somebody else, and so we just half the treasure. Other times I would use it as gifts to other people, because who doesn't love Disney merchandise? So I'm pretty sure that this came in a lucky bag. So here's the other one, which is the same thing. And then here's this one. And this must be, yeah, this is definitely Kaylee's, because this is Hong Kong Disney, and I've never been to Hong Kong, so it's not mine. Okay, now moving on to the ones that are definitely mine. This one. I don't think this one came in a lucky bag. Let me see, does it have? No, it didn't come in a lucky bag. So I think I ordered this one for my birthday when I turned 30. So 2 years ago. And I'm pretty sure I have a picture of me in these ears when I turned 30. And then we have Dumbo Ears. Dumbo. I love Dumbo. I'm sure I watched the cartoon like years ago, but I watched the live action a while ago. And I just wept. Loved it so much. So I have a Winnie the Pooh tattoo. Dumbo is definitely, I have a tattoo for Dumbo that I will get. So I don't have a Dumbo tattoo yet, but it's all up here in my mind. Just need to put it on my body. All right. So yeah, Dumbo, definitely. Now, those of you who know me know that I am wildly obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. Love, love, love him. This, definitely love, because he's taking a nap. Who would not want to be taking a nap at any time of the day? It's a nap. Yeah. So got this from Disney because I really, really, really want Pooh ears. And they don't have Pooh themed ears. And that's actually very frustrating. Very frustrating. But here we are. So in talking about my obsession and wanting Pooh ears, an ex-friend of mine was like, oh, I can get you Pooh ears. Like, no problem. I'll look for them for you, let you know how much they cost. Okay. So my co-teacher at the time, she's also a big Winnie the Pooh fan, and her English name is Winnie. So she wanted a pair of ears too. So I'm like, hey, can you get 2 pairs? He's like, yeah, I found them. They're perfect. They're only 10 kwai each. And I'm like, 10 kwai each? What are these gonna be? He was very excited when they showed up. I was like, oh my gosh, they are perfect. Here you go. Do y'all want to see what he got me? These. He got me these. I mean, they're cute in their own right, I guess. But when I was thinking Winnie the Pooh ears, I was thinking Winnie the Pooh ears. And not these. So got these little bootleg ones, and fine, we rocked them. It's cool. I still have yet to find my Disney ears. I was gonna try to hijack like a Chinese New Year pair of ears, because those ears are yellow and red, or like golden red, because those are Chinese New Year colors. The problem is the ears themselves are red, and that just doesn't work for Winnie the Pooh. If the ears were yellow and like the decorations or the bow was red, then I could rock it, but no go. So moving on. Last year, well, not last year, I mean, I did get these last year, but I graduated with my PhD in 2019, December 2019, and because I could not travel because COVID, I never got my doctoral tam and robe. Nothing. I have not physically held my degree yet. Nothing. I have not physically held my dissertation yet. Like, nothing. And so when we went last year in August to Disney in Shanghai, saw this bad boy. And it's a little ear with a graduation cap. Ah! I still don't know which side the tassel goes on. But anyway, I was so happy. Bought it on site. I'm like, let's go. So this is my, why won't this lock stay down? This is my doctoral tam for all intents and purposes. And then we have, I call these the Captain America ears. I don't actually know what purpose they serve, but I got them because they're blue and white. And if you know me, then blue and white are my colors, because I am a dove and I went to HU. So blue and white. So these are actually one of my favorite pairs. And last but not least, at my old job, all of our classrooms were themed. And so my theme was Snow White. So I got these ears. I just think they're the cutest thing. So I got to be Snow White in my castle. So that's all of my ears. Thank you for sitting through that with me and helping me relive some of those memories, some of those moments. Ears, collecting ears has been a thing. I do collect shot glasses more though. Every country that I visit, I try to get a shot glass because they're cheap, they travel well. It's a nice little keepsake. So, you know, if you go someplace and you get a shot glass, feel free to send it to me. Thank you. So that is the end of our episode today. I have talked you through my dogs, my cat, my ears. What an exciting day, guys. What an exciting day indeed. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Please, if you have anything else that you want me to talk about, let me know. I have 2 more episodes in this season, episode 6 and episode 7. This is counting in Chinese. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Sure. I can count in Chinese. How amazing am I? Anyway, don't know what I was saying, but thank you for tuning in. I can't wait to talk to you guys next time on the Brown Girl in Beijing podcast with me, your host, Dr. Baby. So with love, XOXO. Brown girl in Beijing, tra la la la, and she looks like the sugar in a plum. Yeah, she looks like the sugar in